afternoon, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This afternoon it is Friday, the Friday before, the Good Friday before. Remember last time we had a Friday? It was Good Friday agreement, wasn't it? With the fans. Good afternoon to all the Celtic fans that are tuning in all around the world. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's go. Right, I'm going to say hello to the people that are online just now. Paul McCune was first up. Hail, hail, Paul. Sam Mack is in the house. Joe Docherty's in the house. Also, Green Machine is in the house. Joe Sink or Swim for the Rangers fans. Green Machine is in the house. And Aries is in the house from North London. James Bentley's in the house. Diane's in the house. Shitter is in the house. Also, there's currently about 18 viewers. See how busy it is on this Friday night. And Stuart Ramsey's in the house. Evening, Uncle Stuart. How are you? Where's Lorna? She's not here yet. Anyway, let's jump straight into the briefing that Brendan Rodgers gave us this afternoon. We'll go through that in full just now. Brendan Rodgers obviously took to the stand, as they say, the press conference after the one and only Liam Scales. Liam Scales has said, look, the first game of the season. You remember back to the first game of the season? Let's go back a long, long time ago. Let's go back to the last game of the season, and when you think about it, we were underdogs. We were underdogs then. We were underdogs the second game of the season, and allegedly we're underdogs now, even though that we've got our full team strength back. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But Liam Scales spoke about the fact that at the beginning of the season, he was thrown into that game. He wasn't expecting to play the first Glasgow derby back in September. He wasn't looking to be at Celtic back in, the end of August and the beginning of September. But he was thrust into that team, and he said for the first 10 minutes of the game, he couldn't catch his breath. Yep, Liam Scales couldn't catch his breath. The fact that the game was that fast-paced, and they came out, the traps running. They come out and tried to dominate the game, but we got the good result in the end. We did get the good result in the end, which was all good. And we also got a good result the second time round. Asked about going into this game, Brendan Rodgers was asked a series of questions today. The first one, we did say that would be the return of Callum McGregor, the return of the captain. And he did say that he would wait until tomorrow, give him one final run out just to check his fitness. But he's done remarkable to be back ahead of schedule, depending on what, if you're American or what. Anyway, it shows his professionalism, says Brendan Rodgers. He says that he's worked hard, he's been involved in the squad, and we're looking at every capacity to make sure that he has a clean bill of health. And not just for the Sunday's game. We'll have to look at it just beyond Sunday's game, because there's no use Callum McGregor coming back for Sunday's game and then we get a win in that, and then he's out for the rest of the season, or he's out for another 3 or 4 games. That would be detrimental to the season, Brendan Rodgers alluded. And he said it's all about managing to make sure he's as fit as we can, and it is with one eye on the remaining games of the season, because let's face it, we have a lot of more important games to come after this one. It's not a must-win or must-lose game. It's not going to determine the destiny of the title by any means, Brendan alluded. But he did say about Callum McGregor, he said he's the type of player who probably get by on 80% fit. And do we play him when he's 80% fit? Do we put him into the same midfield as Rio Hatate, who, well, on the face of it, Brendan Rodgers says, look, Rio Hatate is the type of player that can turn with the ball. He gets the ball from the defence, and he's one that turns with the ball and runs forward. He says, we see that in training, we see what he can bring to the game, and you can see what he could do against when he played against Livingston last week. But talking about Callum McGregor, he says it's logical to think about the way that we bring Callum back into it. In training, you can see his quality, and we have to gauge whether he starts or whether he comes into the game or what involvement he does have. Do you play the game with the first half an hour of Callum McGregor just to make sure that we're settled and try and get a goal or two in front? That's for the manager to decide over the next day, the next 24 hours. He'll have his team in mind. We all know the team. It's going to be the strongest team possible. I mean, every single one of us could write down the team today, and we know that Callum McGregor would start ahead of Tomoki Iwata, and Tomoki Iwata would probably come on the second half to take Callum McGregor off. But speaking about being written off, the manager was then asked about, obviously, at the start of the season, we were kind of decimated with injuries that brought in Liam Scales. And what a season that boy's had, isn't he? What a season he's had. And we did say that Liam Scales would be one player to watch out for the rest of the season due to his performance, not only in that game, but in the games prior to that at the beginning of the season. Anyway, he says, Brendan Rodgers, he says about these games, we've been written off. We go back to the first game, we went there, we had just one good lesson about life and football. He says, first of all, it was individually and collectively, and as a club, we were all written off at Ibrox by the media. We were all written off. The narrative feels very similar this time, says Brendan. Although both clubs have had 4 wins from the last 5 games. So for me, the opportunity is to go there and did like we did earlier in the season, which was win. We need to show that we have the true mentality, the strength to come in difficult moments. But we can come through that in the end, and that will just focus on the manager. He was then asked if there was more pressure on the home team, them. He said, I don't see it. Obviously, when you're a home team, you're looking to win these games. I can only speak from our own side. We want to win, but we don't need to win it. We want to be positive. We want to get a positive result, and we can do it by playing our own style of football. Fast, dynamic, and he thinks it's going to be a really good game. He was then asked about the referee. Of course, he was going to be asked about the referee. He was going to be asked about the referee, and the media are trying to goad him, trying to goad Brendan Rodgers. I'll get to the comments this morning. I see there's lots of comments coming in. The media were basically trying to goad Brendan Rodgers into making some kind of statement against John Beaton being the referee. And he said, for John to be given the game, he's a top referee. Basically, he said, my point for the Hearts game was not John Beaton's career as referee. My gripe was on the day. He said, I feel so they feel they have to appoint someone who has the experience. John is one of the top referees in the country. I just think it's a modern game, says Brendan Rodgers. He said, when you switch on Sky, they'll have programmes about referees. So naturally, the focus is now on officials, where it wasn't before. It was all about the players and about whether a player dived or he cheated. And with the introduction of VAR, referees have come under more scrutiny, even because they're blatant fucking penalty rangers. Is that obvious? Oh, just to wind the zombies up, because I'm sure they'll tune in and watch this and think, did you freaking bastard? I think it's just a modern game, said Brendan Rodgers. He said, when Sky have programmes with referees, so it's natural. He says, look, the same with VAR. They're paid for it. Their salary is in the bank. It's not for nothing. They're accountable for the decision making. But it's natural now. It's natural. And he didn't want to talk about it and basically just shut it down. He said, look, I don't care who the referee is. We need to go and do our own thing and win. Brendan was asked about his record against the mighty Rangers. And then when we sit back and we look at the managers over the years that Brendan Rodgers has seen off, yes. The Rangers are coming, and the Rangers are coming. I think they probably had more orgasms and chance of coming than most of the women. Oh, by the way, make sure that you watch this to the end, because unlike some masseuse, I'm going to give you a happy ending. Need to make sure you tune into the end of this one, right? We're only going to run until 6:30 this evening, but with the last 5 minutes, there is a story. There is a story that caught my eye today. Glasgow Derby Fever. And this is a story out of a paper about a mother who's made a Celtic prediction. So make sure you tune into the last 5 minutes of that. Honestly, this might send you over the edge. This one might just send you over the edge. And I'll get to the comments and everything in just a second. So bear with me. Anyway, Brendan Rodgers was asked about his record against the Rangers. Now, I can remember one time that we did get beat by the Rangers at Hampden. I had a ticket for that game. It was a semi-final, and I didn't go into it. Something happened before the game, which made sure that I decided to stay outside with the person involved to make sure that they were okay, as they took kind of unwell due to the over exuberance of alcohol. So I decided to stay outside with them. I had a bad feeling about the game that day because it was raining when we got to Hampden, and usually when it's raining when we play them away like that, it's not a good day. The signs were all wrong for me. The signs going into this game are absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that was the one and only game that I can remember as getting beat by them. It was that game at Hampden in his early career. at Celtic, and I'm glad I've never seen it, to be honest. But he was talking about it, and he said, "Look, he says the storyline starts in the week, the build up to it. It's never mind the media, never mind the circus story that goes on. The storyline will take care of itself. The media will decide whether who's playing, who's not, who's good, and who's in form, and who shouldn't really even be near the team. But one of the most important things that I do, it's an opportunity. You need to stay calm. You need to stay focused. We need to stay focused on our own performance this week. And training this week has been fantastic. He says if you stay calm and we play football, our football, the Celtic way, we will go on and win. And we always approach games like that, said Brendan Rodgers. He says we've got everyone available. He was then asked about the fitness of everyone in the squad. He says when we look at it training this week, we've had everyone available. Lewis Palmer's back in training. Um, Callum has got one more training session tomorrow, and we'll see if he gets ticked off the box. We've got a clean bill of health, which we didn't have at the beginning of the season, which we didn't have. Liam Scales alluded to that also. He said, "Look, we've got a full squad to pick from. We haven't had that all season. We haven't had that all season. We've not had the opportunity to pick our best players and going into these top games in the league, and it's probably the best time of the season." So when you think about it, Brendan Rodgers says, no matter how good we are at attacking, it's about consistency and how we defend. We're at our best when we're organised and tight. We're attack-minded in the front foot and attack-minded when we're defending. If we can do that well, we'll win the game. He was then asked about the Rangers manager. Of course he would be. Of course he would be. They have to try and take control of the narrative somehow, and they have to get some headline. Go and say something nasty about your compatriot manager. And he said, look, he's only had one game at a Glasgow derby, and he was beaten. He was beaten. He's an experienced manager. He's been around the block, a bit like the woman that's coming up at the end of the video in around about 10 minutes' time. So make sure you watch that, because this story is going to fuck me. I can't even believe they've written it. Anyway, he said coming into these games, he's had a lot of experience. He said he's got a lot of games under his belt. There's a joy in management. He's had his first taste of it, and he'll get a taste at Ibrox. It's definitely a unique game, and it boils down to people and players performing on the field. And that was basically Brendan Rodgers talking about the whole game at the weekend, the Glasgow Derby. The Glasgow Derby. He did speak a lot about Callum McGregor, and he spoke about how good he is as a player, and talking about the injuries we've had this season. McGregor is way ahead of schedule. Way ahead of schedule for his fitness with his Achilles issue that he had after he was taken off of that 7-1 game against Dundee, where we played absolutely fantastic that game. And one thing that I noticed about the pictures for that Celtic released of them training this morning is Daniel Kelly heavily involved. Heavily involved. I'm looking for Daniel Kelly to come on and score a late goal in this derby at Ibrox. I'm telling you that right now. Will we do it with Callum on Saturday? Yes, I think we'll. I just said tomorrow, but it's going to be Saturday, isn't it? Brendan, it was good because he spoke about being relaxed and being calm, and and taking it in their strides. He says we've got a clean bill of health, probably for the first time this season. First time this season that we've had that clean bill of health. It's going to be interesting because Yang has also been told that he is not going away with his national country for the under 23s. He's too important to Celtic for the run-in. So Celtic know that even if they get one injury to Kuhn in the run-in, it would keep us short. So they've persuaded the national team to keep a hold of Kuhn until the end of the season. So that's another bit of fantastic news coming out of Celtic today. He also spoke about back in September. He spoke about being without players like Cameron Carter-Vickers, Rio Hatate. He says, well, we're without them the first time at Ibrox. So going to Ibrox with our most important players now can only be a benefit to the team. It's the power, the pace, and the quality that we have. We have lots of tools at Celtic. The mindset is the most important. These are always big games, and I have relished and I've loved them. It's a fantastic opportunity for the players to go out and make a name for themselves. It was also speaking about several other things about the referee, but we're just going to get over that. We're going to get over that. And I still think I'm going to mark down my score. Celtic. Oh, save goal. Let me just get the pen, it works. Start putting in the comments your scores, because I think we all know what the team's going to be at the weekend. So start putting your scores in the comment section. I am going to go for 3-1 Celtic. 3-1 Celtic. I think that they might get a goal, but Celtic have been quite tight. I think I'm going to go for 3-1 Celtic. I think we've got 3 goals in it. It's I think the fact that we've got all our most important players back. Yang being told that he's not going away with international duty. I think the only young player that will be on the bench will be young Daniel Kelly. What a player to bring on. And I think there will be the full use of the substitutions on Sunday. I think there will be the full use of the substitutions, but only once I think it might go to. I think Celtic will score. They might score first, or if we score first, if we get two up, they'll get their penalty, and then we'll score a third. I think that we're that strong just now, and for them to think that it's going to be a walk in the park, let them think it. Let them think it. Bring it on. Right, let's jump into the comments section. We're 15 minutes into the video. 16 minutes now into the video. More than that. Yep, we're 16 minutes into the video, so let's jump on to the comment section. Get some of your comments in before I give you the final story. The final story about a mother who's made a bold prediction. A bold prediction. Can't believe that the the media. Well, you can once I let you know what paper wrote this story, you'll understand the level of gutterness, the level of gutterness that people allude to, and the type of people that probably read that paper. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Oh, and there's a bit of news coming out about Gustav Lagerbielke also this afternoon. There's a bit of Gustav Lagerbielke news came out that there's still clubs in Italy waiting on Gustav Lagerbielke transfer opportunity this summer. A guy coming out of Sweden has been speaking about Gustav. It's probably his agent, because his agent's been doing stuff all over Instagram and such like. But the guy that's coming out of Sweden saying that there's clubs lining up to take Gustav Lagerbielke this summer away from Celtic. He says it's great news for the 23-year-old who's featured just twice in the Scottish Premiership since the end of January, appearing 27 minutes in a 3-0 win over St Mirren and then just 4 minutes at the end of a 3-1 victory over St Johnstone. He rarely appears in the Celtic matchday squads, re-emphasising the fact that Celtic need to move him on. He needs to move as far away from Brendan Rodgers as possible in the next transfer window. There are Italian teams ready to welcome Gustav Lagerbielke with open arms. Well, yeah, there had to be one story, negative story. Anyway, let's jump to the comment section before we give you this absolute howler of an article. Anyway, right, let's jump into the comments. Stephen Baz, Celtics 131. Bragden near Linlithgow. Love it. I know where Linlithgow is, mate. It's right across the water for Fife. Family from Linlithgow a long, long time ago. Brendan was magic today. Yes, Stuart, it was. Brendan was on the ball, and I think this is when Brendan comes into his own, and it's in moments like this. And people talk about elite managers, but Brendan Rodgers has got all the experience from his first time here at Celtic, and he did the same with press conferences his first time round. And I think making sure that he controlled the narrative of the conversation is always a fantastic place to start, because we know exactly how the media will try and change anything that Brendan Rodgers says. Hence the reason that Celtic put out the full press conference to the TV media on YouTube. They don't put the one out. It's quite disappointing actually, because they don't put anything out that the print media get. The print media get a separate news conference with them. So yeah. Anyway, Chilpel says, "Who on here wishes it was 12 o'clock on Sunday?" No, because I'm going out tonight for a couple of drinks, and then I've got a lot to do tomorrow, and that's wishing your life away. I wish it was 3 o'clock on Sunday and we've won. Yeah, maybe that. Brendan was magic today. Stuart, evening everyone. Says Michael Hazel's in the house. Stuart, John Fain says Baz always chirpy when the Huns are coming around. It's always chirpy, always chirpy. It's great to get them. It's great to get them and get them on here. And win, lose or draw, I'll be on this on Sunday. So that's a top drawer. Adidas Zippy. It is that. It is, and I'm going to get. I actually fancy getting a Celtic badge put on it. Cracker. I should have bought 2 of them. But yeah, cheers for that. Paul Bear says, hail, hail. He's late into the house. John, just spoke to you. Green Machine says, having Callum McGregor in the park will be like having Celtic fans in the stands that will give the team a lift. Yes, it will. That Green Machine. Johnny Briggs says, Yang's going to be the next big thing. I don't know if he's going to be the next big thing, but he's definitely a player that, with the Celtic model, Celtic will sell him on in a couple of years. Will they sell him on before they sell Kuhn? That's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. It depends because I don't see. Doesn't seem to be a lot of the English clubs. I mean, when you see how successful the likes of Rio has been, there was no big offer came in for Rio. Uh, is the player going to be the next big thing? And I don't know. I don't know if the Japanese players are fancied down in England. So would we get the big transfers to them down there? I don't know. Don't know. We need fully fit players for this game, says Michael Ross. Tom Max in the house. Patrick says, we're in for a pumping supposedly in September. Yeah, we were in for a pumping in September. You remember that? And how did that work out for them? But then again, we have dropped a lot of points. We have dropped a lot of points. So we can't take any glory in the fact that we've dropped points. Paul Emery's in the house. Hail, trips. What have you missed? Nothing, everything. 15, 20 minutes worth. Paul? Tom Max says, Baz, they're definitely trying to goad Brendan. Yeah, they were definitely trying to. They were trying to get Brendan to get riled up about the referee situation, riled up about the fact that he has more experience in the game than Clementine. Oh, my darling, no, my darling, no, my darling, Clementine. Anyway, we move on for that. Stuart Ramsey says, "Hello, Paul, nothing much yet." Now, there is a news story that we need to talk about. Bloody boiling in here now. Boiling. Almost that time of year when I need to get the fans on. Chris Fraser says, press conference was total disgrace. Keith Jackass asking stupid questions. What do you expect? He's going back to the Daily Record and the Rangers website that he writes for. And of course, he's going to ask absolute nonsense. Something today says, fuck beaten. Yeah, quite right. Guitar Man says, John is one of the top Rangers supporters in Scotland. Yeah, who cares? I don't care. Houston, Texas is in the house. Big up Chris Fraser from Houston, Texas. What time will it be with you, Chris, when you're watching the Glasgow Derby? Tell us in the comments what time you'll be watching the Glasgow Derby when it kicks off on Sunday. Houston, Texas is in the house. Perfect. Stephen Kennedy says we would like to win, but we cannot. With Brendan, why come away with that remark? You've got to come up with something. You've got to say to the media. You've got to say to the media that we go into games. We do not expect to win every game. Well, you could say that, and you can have that confidence behind closed doors, and you can have that confidence in the dressing room to say, like, we're going to win today. Simple as that. We're going to win, and you can be that arrogant and confident within yourself. But as a manager and standing in front of the media, you're not allowed that. It's just not the thing. Anyway, Guitar Man says it's going to be 4-1 Celtic. Teneri says Brendan will have dumbed into the players to ignore bad decisions from the officials. Yes, exactly. Top comments, Teneri's. Top comment. Young's going to do the damage. It's a must win, says Michael Ross. Paul says Brendan was asked about the ref beating and should have said no comment. I'm not going to play to your agenda. He can't say no comment. He could just say, look, he's a top referee and he's a top referee, and so be it. It is what it is. The SFA are going to put the top men in charge for these games. It doesn't matter if they support Rangers. Anyway, 4-1 says Guitar Man, and let me get some of the score lines. Paul McCune saying 3-1 to Celtic. Get the zombie, Stevie Thompson off my TV. Neil Kelly, hi mate, and 87 degrees in Houston. It's around about. You're in a different one, huh? You're a different. You do Fahrenheit, don't you? It's around about 20. It was 26 today here, 26 degrees. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. But yeah, what time are you watching the game? I don't know if I've missed your comment. Tell me what time. Minus 27 in Glasgow. Oh, geez, Baz Lorna's at a gig tonight. We know who she's. Don't know who she's seeing. Oh, but there you go, Stuart. There you go. Cal Mark is our best motivator. He must start. Yep. Jim Dolan says, good evening, Baz. Coming for a walk, pushing down. Well, my mother, you all know, you'll fan my arse. It's Baltic here. I have a duffel coat and two Celtic scarves. I'm sweating. I don't know why I've got this on and a t-shirt. 6 a.m. big up Chris Fraser. He's going to be up at 6 a.m. to watch Celtic. That hats off, a nod to the heart, mate. Fair play to you. Fair play to you getting up at that time to watch the Celtic. I mean, I know that we do have fans all around the world, and it's just brilliant to see when, and hats off to you and fair play to you. And I hope we win. Hope we win just for Chris. Anyway, yes, we all know that my mother was out last week and she sent me some pictures of snow this morning. Snow, heavy snow. Not the kind that half of you are probably thinking about, but yes, the stuff that falls from the sky. Anyway, it is 6:24 and 23 seconds, 25 seconds. I'm going to now remember when the news at 10 used to end with the sequence and finally. And it was always be a funny story. Funny story. 7 degrees in Renfrew. Oof. Oof. Anyway, this story, there's a headline. Mum who gets her kit off for extra cash makes bold Rangers versus Celtic prediction. Oh my fucking god. Anyway, exclusive. It was exclusive from the Daily Star. Oh fuck. I'll read this so you don't have to. Rangers host Celtic this weekend. One Gers fan has made a bold prediction against the derby, ahead of the derby, despite saying that she was too nervous to sleep the night before. And I'm not being funny like, but she's not a bonny ticket, and she's she's a bit on the heavy side. You know, if you're a chubby chaser, she's fine. If you're a chubby chaser, aye, maybe that's your thing, but it's a zombie bird, and she's a bit on the heavy side, as you'd expect. She's an NHS cleaner. She's turned into a raunchy model. She makes £2 a month on fucking OnlyFans, according to this. It said the boys have a slender 1 point lead at the top of the table and have played one more game to their Glasgow rivals. Cherry Bloom, 42. And that's just her waist size. Is confident her beloved Rangers will triumphantly win. Despite feeling positive, the mum of four, the mum of four and four separate dads, whose real name is Lisa, said that she'd be too nervous to sleep the night before. Oh, this is. Oh, come on, she's honking, man. Oh, she's. I can't even. Oh no, Jesus Christ! Oh my eyes! Oh my eyes! Oh God! I'm not joking, but I'm not joking. She's an old craw. That's she's a bit Akifa. Come on, I'll say it. I'll say it. She's no bonny. Oh, she had a £1,000 advert near Edinburgh's Murrayfield Stadium removed after complaints. Despite embracing her sexy side. Oh, fucking Jesus God. Where's this going? Right, that's it. No, cut it. Stop talking about it. I can't do it. I can't do it. She's a. I've not even had a drink tonight. Jesus, man. Oh, man. Oh, right. I'm going to put the link up for you. I'll put the link up for you. She's going to get her 2 minutes of fame. She's if any of are chubby chasers, you might be into it, but she's a fat hun as far as I'm concerned, and fuck that shit. Anyway, oh my God. That's ruined my day and all. Every hole's a goal. Oh, she spat out four, and there's four lucky men running about Glasgow saying, fuck, that's no mine, mate. Anyway, right. Oh. Sometimes it just goes off in one, doesn't it? Anyway, big shout out to Chris Fraser. Chris Fraser, who is coming in from the good old USA. He's going to be watching Celtic at 6 o'clock in the morning. Who really cares? She is not the type of bird you wake up next to. Ever. Not even with yours. Never. There's no amount of cocaine and alcohol could make you do that. I'm sorry. There's just no. There's no amount of cocaine and alcohol in the world that would be able to make that happen. Well, sorry. Anyway, fucking fat hun. Right. That's it. Done and dusted for the evening. We'll be back 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Should we do a live tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Celtic Park time, or should we just do a video? I'll probably just do a video, and then what we'll do is we'll do a live tomorrow night at 5:45. 5:45. Once she's 41, runs through Merlin in the Clyde Tunnel. She's probably been open more than the Clyde Tunnel and all. Oh, Jesus God. Oh, God, take it. Right. We'll be back 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Celtic Park time, with the Celtic Morning News. And then we will return at 5:45 tomorrow evening for a full-time special. Full-time special on the eve of the one and only game of the season, until the next game of the season, until the next important game, and the most important game after that. It's one of three possible remaining Glasgow derbies. It is away to Ibrox. The bus will be leaving, the team bus will be leaving Celtic Park tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. It will be, I'm just like, yeah, I've seen that, Helen, I've seen that about Ange watching the game. I'm reading the comments. Exactly. Who's Ange? Fucking, he's in the past. He's in the past. Just, you're throwing me off at that. See, I shouldn't have done that story. That's too far. Too far. Sometimes it's just too far. Yes, I'll be back 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with a Celtic news story, and then tomorrow evening 5:45 we will do, and everyone will probably be at Celtic Park, so nobody will be watching the live. The Celtic bus, the team bus, leaves at 5 p.m. from Celtic Park tomorrow, so maybe we'll start at 5 o'clock and see if we can get some footage from that. Anyway, nah, I doubt it. We'll start at 5 o'clock tomorrow. There will be a live, and on that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world. If you can do, make sure that Jabba. Jabba. Ah, right, that's it. I'm done and dusted. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world.